JJ Math. This is test 3 for factorization. Please pause the video now, try each of these sums, and then mark it with me at the end and see how much you would have gotten out of 26. Good luck. Question 1. Okay, so I always start with taking out a common factor. I can take out x squared. I'm left with 1 minus x squared. Then in the bracket, I can see that's the difference of squares. So x squared, 1 minus x, 1 plus x. Final answer. Question 2. Difference of two cubes, I suspect, because there's multiples of 3 in the exponent. But before that, I need to take out a common factor of 2, and that would give me a 8y cubed minus p to the power 6. Okay, 2 stays there, small bracket, big bracket. This would be 2y minus p squared. And now to get the bigger bracket, square the first one, multiply them, but change the sign, 2yp squared, and then always a plus, and square the last one. Okay, question 3. Also difference of cubes. I can't take out a common factor, so I can just start with the brackets immediately. This would be 6 minus 5x squared y cubed, and then the big bracket. So square the first one, multiply them, but change the sign, x squared y cubed, and then square the last one, plus 25x4 y 6. Okay, question 4. I would start by checking for a common factor. Okay, I can take out a 4, but the x squared stays there, and y minus 1. Okay, I know this is going to be a 9, but oh, my brackets are not in the same order, so I want to swap the order. I am allowed to do that if I take out a minus. A plus times a minus becomes a minus. Okay, next step, I need to take out a common factor there. Okay, so the 4 stays where it is, and then I'm going to take out y minus 1. Okay, and you would notice I'm not doing the block brackets anymore because it's not necessary. Okay, now I need to check, am I done? So I can't do anything with the 4, can't do anything with the first bracket, but the second bracket is actually difference of squares. So 4, y minus 1, and then x minus 3, x plus 3. Perfect, that is my final answer. Question 5 is a trinomial, but I need to check for a common factor first. So I can take out a 3, and that would leave me with 2a squared plus a minus 6. Okay, I have a value in front of a squared. I have a value in the last term that's not a 1. So this is an advanced trinomial. I know this is 1 times 2. This is 1 times 6, or 2 times 3. Now I need to get the correct pairing that if I subtract them, it gives me a 1. So I am going to take, I don't have a choice. I'm going to take that one, and I'm going to take that one. So 2 times 2 gives me 4. 1 times 3 gives me 3. If I subtract them, I do get a 1. So that's definitely the pair I need to use. So remember, the top 2 forms the first bracket. Okay, so that gives me a 1 and a 2. I need to put an a there. And then the bottom 2 forms the other bracket. So this would be a 2a, and that would be a 3. Now to check the signs, I want the biggest value, so the 4, I want to be a plus, and that would be this one, because that gave me a 4. So this needs to be a plus, and then the other couple needed to be a minus in order to get me to positive 1. There we go. That is my final answer. Question 6 is also an advanced trinomial, but I'm first going to take out a 2. So that leaves me with 3x squared minus x minus 10. The factor pairs there would be 1 times 3, or 3 times 1, and then 1 times 10, 2 times 5. Okay, in this case, I need to subtract to get a 1. So I am just going to use this pair and this pair. So remember, you will trial and error until you find the right one. So if I multiply those ones, I get a 6. If I multiply those ones, I'm going to get a 5. If I subtract them, this would give me a 1. But in this case, I want a negative 1. So I'm actually going to put the minus with the 6, the plus with the 5, and that would give me the minus 1. Okay, so to write my brackets, I know the top 2 is going to be in the first bracket, so that would be 1x and a 2, and then the bottom 2 from my factor pairs would be the second bracket, so 3x and a 5. So now I need to figure out the signs. I want a negative 6, so that couple gives me the 6, but I want that to be minus, so the minus goes there. Therefore, the plus needs to go there. That would be the final answer. Okay, question 7. So now I need to establish what am I going to do. There are 4 terms, so it's definitely grouping. Okay, but now I need to investigate a little bit further. So I can see there's a 16x squared, but there are no other x's. Okay, so that is sort of concerning. Then if I look at the others, there's an a squared and an a, and I'm actually going to put the 1 with them. Okay, so sometimes in grouping, you need to do 2, 2, but in this case, that's not going to get me anywhere if I just group the first 2 and the last 2. In this case, I'm going to do the last 3 as a trinomial and then hope I'm getting somewhere. So in this case, I would firstly then just leave the 16x squared like it is, but there I'm going to take out a minus 1. Okay, that leaves me a squared minus 2a plus 1 at the end. Okay, if I then do that trinomial, which is luckily one of the easiest trinomials that you're going to get, so there's a minus 1, and then I know a squared is just a times a, and 1 is just 1 times 1. The signs, that one goes to the first one, and that tells me it's the same sign in both brackets. This I can rewrite as minus 1 and then a minus 1 squared. By writing it like that, I can see this is a difference of squares sum. So in this case, just going to do block brackets because there's already brackets in the sum. So this would be 4x minus, this would be 4x plus. Just going to do one of those brackets and then one of those brackets. So the 4x minus and 4x plus, that's the sign that changes, not the sign in the bracket. So please just watch out for that one. Okay, now to get the final answer, I'm just going to multiply in this minus or this plus. And that would leave me with 4x minus a plus 1. And then in the other bracket, it would just be 4x plus a minus 1. And that is the final answer. Okay, you reached the end of test 3. Let's just mark and see how it went. Question 1 was 3 marks. You'd get a mark for taking out the common factor and then for getting the difference of squares brackets correct. The next one, 4 marks. I'm going to get a mark for taking out the common factor, then a mark for the small bracket, a mark because my squares were correct, and then because the middle term was correct. Question 3 also counted 4 marks. Okay, so you would get a mark for the first bracket and doing the cube roots correct, then a mark for the squares, a mark for the middle one, and then you would get an extra mark for all the exponents and everything that's going on there. So if the format and all the exponents are correct. Question 4 would be 5 marks. So I'm going to get a mark for doing the sign change and taking out a common factor. Okay. Then for doing the grouping part correct, so for taking out this bracket, and then your final one you would get for doing the difference of squares, and then for remembering to take down the previous factors that you already factorized. 5 marks for that question. So then for this trinomial, it would count 3 marks. It's going to get a mark for taking out the correct common factor, and then for each bracket with its sign. Same with question 6, common factor, each bracket with the correct sign. Lastly, question 7 counted 4 marks. So I would actually get a mark for taking out the right common factor there, for doing the trinomial correctly, doing the difference of squares correctly, and then for writing the final answer with just round brackets. Okay, so each teacher and memo can shuffle the marks a little bit, but this is a tricky question, and that's why it counts 4 or 5 marks in some cases. Okay, great. We are at the end of the factorization chapter or playlist. How did you guys do with this test? This test counted 26, but then also I would really love to know, how did it go with the 3 tests overall? Did you improve as you went along, or can you clearly see where the weaknesses are? Please go watch the videos again to sharpen your skills. Factorization is going to be in everything till the end of grade 12. So please make sure this is not a weakness for you. Practice and you will be perfect in this.
If this video helped you, please like and subscribe.
JJ Math.